We're live. Thank you. Somebody let me know. We can chop off the first part of this when we finish up. So I'm going to just introduce myself now. Live happens, and I'm going to say, welcome to Friday night. We are here one more again, as the saying goes. And I'm just going to talk about some things tonight about you serving in multiple roles every day, right? You're a family member, you're a parent, you're a spouse, you're a sibling, you're a significant other, you're a business owner, you're an organizational leader, you're an employee, and you're a manager of your home. What do you do not to get overwhelmed and go crazy? How do you handle all of that? Well, tonight we're going to talk about it. And I am really honored to have a guest with us tonight. You didn't even know we were having a guest, but I'm honored to have a guest with us tonight that's going to talk about how to balance all of these different roles. And this is someone who is uniquely qualified to share her story and answer your questions. I don't want to steal her thunder or uh, tell her story, so I'm going to let her do that. But I lost track of the number of roles she has, but there are a lot of them, a bunch, a whole bunch. This is someone who is very, very close to me, and this is what I'll say. She's so close that prays for me every day, like for real, every day. If you're new here, welcome to Purposeful Productivity. I'm off, and I am Florence, and I help you, the leader out there, the person who's running multiple organizations, eliminate friction in your productivity system so that you operate in your purpose and achieve your goals. And tonight I have the privilege of having someone who, like I said earlier, is very close to me, a woman of many talents. She'll say she isn't, but she is. And I call on her regularly. She's a confidant. She's seen me in good days and bad days, in good times and bad times. And in all of that, she still loves me and prays for me every day. I want you to put your hands together, your virtual hands together, and welcome to the show, Monica Gray. Monica, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Good evening.
Good
So happy to be here.
evening. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm giddy with excitement. I'm giddy with excitement. And the thing that I'm going to do is, life happens, y'all. So just roll with me. I'm not going to, like I said, I wasn't going to steal your thunder because I want you to tell your story. You have
Mm,
such a powerful story. And I'm just going to turn it over to you and give you an opportunity to just share who you are and your background as much as you want and let the crew out there get to know you a little bit.
okay. Um, I'm Monica Gray, and I am a resident in the DMV area, District, Maryland, Virginia area. And I am married to my loving husband of 25 years. We have three beautifully dynamic, busy young adult children, 23, 22, and 19. Two in college, one working full time, two away from home, one still in the home. And I, along with my husband, or I work alongside my husband, we founded a ministry back in 2005 that we've been nurturing and growing since then, with all the ebbs and flows of that, along with um, my husband is an entrepreneur and works other businesses and does other consulting things and all of that, along with me also having a full-time job myself out of the home, working at Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C. And so that is a position that keeps me really busy. I work pretty much 5 days a week, but I'm sort of on call all the time. Could get a call on a Saturday, on a Sunday to, with issues to have to resolve. So, that's just part of life. And Yeah, I was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of years with our kids, and that was um, a huge joy. It you might not think that that's something to aspire to, but it was something that I really really enjoyed. I really enjoyed being involved with my children's lives and all the things that we were able to do and experience, and the things that we sacrificed because that is what we chose. But I did that for many years. I did not go back to work full time until our older two were in high school and the youngest was going to middle school. So yeah, I've worked many roles. I've done many things. Even in like work life, I've had like so many different types of jobs. So that's just, I guess, a part of who I am. But yeah, we stay really busy in our lives, and we love to travel. We love to be with our family, and another part kind of who we are and what we've done was, part of our lives we took care of a parent who was ill. And so that was, another kind of role to take on, and something, that we had to take on full time and just do within our little unit of a family. And I'm going to say this because he's right under my feet. I am a dog mom, and that is something that keeps us busy as well. He's right now wanting to, all of a sudden, because of course, because I'm on live, he wants to play. So he's pulling on my leg. He's right under the chair. So if you guys hear him, if you see something moving, it's because he's trying to get my attention. But yeah, this is life, right? This is what we do. We expect the unexpected at any time.
Out here with us and say good evening to some folks. I want to start with this person. Hello, Walter Strong from Walter Strong, well, the Huddle with Walter Strong III. And Monica, you've heard me talk about this gentleman. This is the guy who, as I say, he lovingly shoved me off the cliff and said, "You will grow wings on the way down." And I will
Awesome.
forever be grateful to him because he's been in my corner every step of the way of this journey. And we have a newcomer in here in the show with us, and that is, oh, I did something goofy. Sharon, nice, welcome to the show. Uh, Sharon, glad to have you with us this evening. Of course, we have our moderator crew out there, the emotional CEO, and oh, why is I'm not seeing any text there? That's really weird. This is gonna be a fun live show because all kind of kooky
Hmm.
stuff are going on. That's okay.
It's because I showed up. I'm
And
mixing it
and
up
and this one
today.
is doing the same thing. So I don't know why, but this is supposed to be Frank Jackson. I have no idea why it's doing this. Y'all, just roll with me.
We
Just roll
rolling.
with me. Roll with
We
me
rolling. We
tonight.
going.
We're
That's right.
going. And for those who uh, didn't catch it, Monica is my pastor's wife, and she is the first lady of the church that I attend, serve in, and am very lucky to be a part of. And so that's why she's so special. And I could say without a doubt that she prays for me every day. And I know a little bit about her story. And oh my goodness, we have another wonderful family member in the building. So let's see if this one shows up correctly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you in the building with us this evening. Uh, we know you, so we're glad to have you here. And we're gonna. This is what I'm gonna ask you all to do. Ask your questions. Believe me when I tell you, um, she's qualified to answer your questions. She is most definitely qualified to answer your questions. So, you know our rule. Put a Q colon in front of your questions so I can find them. Q colon and ask your question. Do not be shy. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Because, at some point, if you've ever been here before, you're going to get a last call and we're going to start flicking lights. So start thinking about your questions now and ask them. She is most definitely qualified to answer your questions. So now that we know a little bit about your background and all of these like 99 roles you you have, I'm going to start with asking you a few questions and give you an opportunity to just kind of start to share
Sure.
a little bit how you balance all of this. This show tonight is about balancing all these different roles and responsibilities that we have. So I'm going to start with just asking you, what kind of strategies do you use to maintain, first of all, a healthy balance in your life? You know, people love to say work life, but life is life. There's no separation. With all of these various roles that you have, balancing them all and kind of keeping them going just generally.
So you said that you called me a woman of many talents. I would like to say that I am a woman covered by grace because there is no talent in me that I can take credit for. Everything that I do, that I set out to do, that I've been able to do is only by the grace of God. Have not had many people that I would say are role models, right? People to follow, people that have done what I'm doing, and I can say I want to do it like that. There have been some that I've said I like the direction that they're going. I want to go that direction as well. But not very many where, I can say, this is my role model. So I have adopted the mindset that, I have to do this the way that the Lord leads me. And I have to be sure that, I can trust my instinct, intuition, my discernment, the voice that's inside, the thing that tells us, you know, guides us, right? That tells us which way to go and how to be guided. So, I'm not a one that's full of um, I'm not, I would not call myself, let me say that. I would not call myself an organizer. Um, that's weird, right? To say on a show that's about productivity. But I don't have 4 steps in a plan. But I don't fly by the seat of my pants. I'm very purposeful about my movements. I'm very purposeful about my decisions. I'm very thoughtful about the places I go and what I prioritize, right? I know for sure that my family, my children, my husband, excuse me, sir.
And the
Excuse me,
fur
sir.
baby.
Oh my
and,
gosh.
and the fur
he
baby.
he's really jealous right now. I think he wants my attention and I'm not giving it to him. So he's climbed all the way up to like the level of the lights and cameras to say, "Hey, I'm right here, lady." So sorry about that, but I know my family is my priority. So I prioritize them. I prioritize them for their needs. If I, heaven forbid, drop dead today, my job will be reposted. My office will be cleaned out. My PTO and my sick days and all those things will be distributed. My responsibilities at the job will be distributed. My family is going to be the one that's going to miss me. My family is going to be the one that's going to need me, right? So I make them my priority. I know where what my husband needs. We've been married long enough for me to anticipate his needs, to anticipate, what his business needs are. When he comes home, he's had a meeting, he's been, however far he had to travel, what he needs when he gets home. My children are strategic about their communication with me, right? So I know how to plan for their needs. And that is what my priority is. That I have learned to look out for them. I have learned to adopt really the mindset that, this is how I'm going to check this off. Alan needs this and Christian needs that. And, so and so down my list. And it's not to say that I don't prioritize myself, because surely I do, right? There are times where I take time for me. This is mommy time. This is Monica time. I close the door, do not disturb. I put on my Law and Order SVU on TV, and I get my iPad, and I'm doing me. Or I take myself to lunch, or I take myself to the movies, or I go get my nails done, or whatever. So it's about finding the balance, like you said, of priorities, finding out, when I have done the things that I have prioritized to do, I can move on to the wants. I can move on to the things that it would be nice if I could do this. I get a call, would you be able to do, well, let me figure out if I can fit that in my schedule of the things that I know that I have to do. And then I can figure out the things that it would be nice if I could do. It would be nice if I could spare some time to, you know, whatever that thing might be. Um, Again, I don't. I know that I am covered in grace. I follow the leading of my discernment and what is guided me this far, and I don't lean on into what I feel like might be talents, um, because I have to do it the way that the Lord leads me. Just speaking plainly.
All right. Well, you answered a question. You answered my question about prioritization and how you decide when you're making these decisions with all of these roles pulling on you to do something. Florence calls and this one calls and that one calls or email you, or somebody else has a need here, and you've got to drive there. And I remember the days of you driving the youngest to rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal every day, and having to make
Mm,
the sacrifice. Sometimes, it was an hour or more trip to get to rehearsal, and then sitting through
absolutely.
and everything. So I
Hours of
remember those
rehearsal.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, hours at
Yes.
rehearsal and then coming back. So you gave a phenomenal response, and I'm grateful that you shared it the way that you did, and I wouldn't expect anything less, quite frankly.
And with
So
that, a lot of that, we lean on each other, right? So yes, the our youngest had hours of rehearsals many times, and then the other two would have a sports event, a activity or something that either I would go late, or we would hand off, right? So husband would go to part of it, he would come to the rehearsal to pick up, I would go to the game. So we worked as a team, or the kids had to understand, mommy's not gonna be able to make it to this one because I will be, all the way across town and not able to. Or other family members, you guys come to the game, I'll be at the rehearsal. Somebody takes this one to rehearsal, I'll be at the game. We had to figure out how to delegate some things, because yes, I'm not a machine, and I can't be everywhere. So some has to be a no, some has to be a yes, some has to be, well, let's figure out the best way. Can I do part of it? Can I attend for an hour, and then leave? Does it make sense to drive here and there in an hour when I have to be back at this place? So, um, yeah, we had to delegate, we had to work together to make it happen.
And so that's a big tip for all of those who think that and I'm going to speak to the ladies for a minute. And this is Women History Month. So speak to the ladies for a moment,
Yes.
where we all think that we have to be super women and we can do it all and we have to do everything. Uh, our guest tonight is showing, even with, again, I can't even count how many roles you have anymore, but you don't have to do it all. She
We
just
can't. We
she
can't.
just shared that you really don't have to, and you really can't.
Right.
You all know I'm good for seeing we all have 1,440 minutes in a day.
Yep.
No more, no less. If we're blessed to see the next day, the sun come up, 12 midnight to hit to 11:59 the next day, that's 1,440 minutes. I call it the great equalizer.
Yep.
It is truly an equalizer. So we've got some new folks who've shown up in the building with us this evening. So we're going to say good evening to them. And then we've gotten some questions from some folks. And let's see if this
Hmm.
acts right. So here is part of the crew. Hey, Professor Hicks, how you doing? Yes, yes, yes. James Hicks, a true pioneer out here doing some phenomenal work in this digital space. And this young lady is someone who I've recently met, but she has a phenomenal story. Nice to see you, Petula. So glad that you're in the building with us this evening. And you're going to get value here. And thank you for
Okay.
showing up and being a part of the live tribe tonight. And I thought I saw, yes, I did see. And this is, I'm going to hold back on that one because it's going to be one of the first questions from the audience. And my friend here, Roy, so glad to have you. Uh, you can relate. And really, the people who are here in the building, and let me just say, if you're not in the building, you're just listening, or you're listening only because maybe you're in one of those multiple roles, helping a child with homework or something. Thank you for being a part of the live tribe. I value you. And if you're part of the magical replay crew, hang tight, listen, because there is information that's shared tonight that's going to be very valuable to you as you navigate all of these different things that you're navigating every day and trying to stay out of being overwhelmed. And honestly, as I say, crazy somewhere. Because it really can. So let's get into some questions from the audience. And again, if you have a question, Q colon and get them in, get them in. So the first question I'm going to take, and I'm going to say while we ask this question, welcome to the show as well, Julie Johnson. And we know where you are and what's happening. So thank you.
Yes.
Oops, sorry for hurting your ears. Thank you for being here this evening. So the question is, what are some of your favorite self-care activities?
Mm. So, don't judge me, okay? Y'all ask the question. Don't judge me. Okay. So, my very favorite self care activity is putting on my very most comfy pajamas and crawling on the top of the bed, not in the bed, on the top of my bed, getting a comfy blanket. Seriously, with my iPad, either I'm watching Game Show Network or some movie I've seen many times, and I love playing like games, like puzzle games, things like that on my iPad. That's literally my favorite sort of self care rejuvenation activity. That's in the house. Now, if I'm going out, a self-care activity that I like to do is I love to eat out. So I love to eat different foods. I love to experience different restaurants, different things, having the special for the night, although I'll only eat certain things, but to the best of my ability. I love to eat out. I love to who doesn't love to shop? Little retail therapy. It is a amazing self-care activity. I mean, stay within your budget and all of that. That's your business. But yes, love those things. The spa, and it doesn't have to be an expensive spa service. If you get the basic spa services, something like that, treat yourself once a month, twice, bi-monthly, however you can fit it in for you. Those are some things that I love to do. Again, I said we love to travel. So I see that as a self-care activity, right? To get away from your everyday responsibilities, to get away from the phone ringing, from the children looking for you, from, your busyness at work. Even if it's a staycation, even if you stay within your city in a hotel, within your city, that is self-care. That is taking time for you to remember who you are, what you like, the kinds of foods that you like to eat. You're not having to take care of someone else. You're thinking about the things that you want. You wear the clothes that you like. Pull that dress out that closet that you still have the tags on, that you feel like it's too dressy to go to wear out. Why? Pull that thing out, rip them tags off, and put that dress on and go out to dinner. Those are things that I love to do, because it reminds me, that I'm vibrant. It reminds me that I'm alive. It like makes my skin, feel good to have the sun beaming on me, because, it reminds me again that I'm here, that, I have a purpose, that there's life to live, and, I am not my responsibilities. I'm not the thing that they need me to do all the time. I am this person that, has dreams and hopes, and I love to laugh, and, all of those things. So, take some time for yourself and figure out, what is that thing that brings you joy, and do that. Those are the things that bring me joy. Those are the things that I love to do. Again, as soon as we get off of this call, I'm going to put on my comfy pajamas. I'm going to get my iPad. I'm going to find something on the TV, and I'm going to curl up, because that's what Friday nights are for me. Some of them. Some of them are date nights. But tonight is going to be self-care, fuzzy, cozy pajama night.
All right. So we got a heavy question here, and I don't even know if this is all going to fit on the screen. I'm going to
Uh-oh.
try it. What are three suggestions? This is from Walter. What are three
Mm-hmm.
suggestions you would offer to pastor wives on helping their husbands who are pastors to make their family as the first ministry that God has given them? That's a deep question.
Yeah. So what can I say to pastors wives?
Wives.
Um, Number one, be on one accord with your husband. Okay, so his vision is the vision of the church. So catch the vision along with your husband, so that you can work together in the ministry. It's not a competition, right? The family is not competing with the ministry. If you're working together, if you're, working alongside, in whatever role it is that you have at your church. I might have a different role as a first lady at our church than other women at other churches. But know what your role is. Work together with your husband to bring the vision that he has for the ministry to life. That's number one. Number two, let your husband have solace when he comes home. Right. So it's not, you always at the church, and like, as soon as he comes home, it's, well, why did, no, be his peace when he comes home. Let him know that when he comes home, it's going to be peace. So that is a place that he wants to come back to. It's not, oh, I gotta go home, but it's, oh, I'm going home. I'm getting out of here. My wife is cooking dinner, or my wife is, we're home alone, the kids are gone, or whatever it is. Be his peace when he comes home. And I think the third strategy is to not feel like you have to not be who you are, because God called your husband, God called you to be in this place, to be in this ministry. He knows who you are. He knows your flaws, and he knows your greatest gifts. So use them. Don't feel like you have to hide who you are. Don't feel like you have to manipulate who you are. I have grown in the way that I have been able to accept things that I always thought were bad about me. Okay. So meaning, I growing up, I was always told, you're too loud. You're doing too much. Go sit down. Stop doing that. And now, as an adult, as I can look and see, I'm loud. I might be doing too much, but that's part of my personality. I like things that are different from other people. My voice sounds different from other people. The way I walk in the room is different from other people. And that is a great thing. And I have been able to embrace that. And if I'm confident in that, then I can allow the people in my church to be confident with me. Because if I'm not sure about who I am, then my anxiety about that is going to follow me wherever I go, especially in a house of worship, where it is a vulnerable space. It is a place where you can open up, and where you're supposed to commune with the spirit that's there. And if you're unsure, and if you're holding back, then it's not going to create the atmosphere that you want. So be who you are. Be sure about who you are. work on yourself, sis, if that's what you need to do. Some people do struggle with esteem. Some people do struggle with self-esteem. Some people do struggle with knowing who they are and being comfortable with those things. And it's okay to work on yourself. It's okay to know that I have to take time to figure out me and figure out how I can be confident in who I am. I wasn't always like that. I grew, like I said, I grew into that because I knew that I needed to accept things about me that I've always kind of been told or felt were bad. And I'm just going to repackage it. Yes, I may speak loudly sometimes. Yes, I might be doing too much sometimes, but I like that about me. I like that I might be a little bit too much for people that aren't expecting it. But once you get to know me, you'll see that that's just a part of my personality. So I hope that answers the question,
Yeah.
and I hope that those are, some, real tangible things that a woman in a church, a woman as a first lady can actually do to help.
So let's take the second half of that about helping their husbands
Mm-hmm.
make their family the first ministry that has given them.
Mm-hmm.
How can a first lady help her husband understand making their family the first ministry that God has given them?
She has to, again, I she has to be able to know her power within herself, right? So scripture tells us that we are to be submit to our husbands as he submits to the Lord. But submitting to our husband doesn't mean that we have to lose who we are. It doesn't mean that we have to be less of who we are. It doesn't mean that we have to not speak our piece or not even be comfortable kind of having an opinion. It means none of those things. It also doesn't mean being a doormat and just laying down to everything that happens around you. If you know who you are, if you're confident about who you are, you have your own opinions, then you can confidently go to your husband and say, "Hey, hon, I think, maybe how about we do this? Have you thought about this? How about we incorporate this?" And then that your home will feel like ministry. It'll feel like home. It'll feel like the place where you can grow, where you can be free, where you don't have to have an agenda to be there. You don't have to work hard to make things work. Not to say that same word twice, but you don't have to do extra for it to be a place where it can be recognized that we're making things happen. We are effective as a unit, we're effective as a group because we have an understanding, we have an agreement, we are in agreement with each other. Again, like I said, as the vision caster, the pastor of the home, the pastor of the church, excuse me, and the leader of the home. It is our responsibility to take that vision that he has and work it and run with it and help it come to fruition and add your part as it fits in. Add the things that your husband might not see. We My husband and I have a very unique relationship in that we're very opposite. So he sees things one way, I see it another way, and I can add the part of the plan that he doesn't see. I can add the part of the obstacle that he might not see and say, let's watch out for this when we get to this corner, because I can kind of see how this might go awry, or I can kind of see how this might be a little sticky when we get over here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. I have a plan for it when we get there. Right. So it's I think that once you can own your own power, own who you are fully, just kind of walk in that thing, then you can be in agreement with your husband and make that home be the place where everyone can grow, not just the husband and wife together, but the children as well.
Awesome. Thank you. They've got
Of
questions for you.
course.
They've got
Wow.
questions. The
Yes,
next question, yes,
questions.
they got questions for you. The next question is, do you feel pressure being first lady? Do you feel pressure being first lady?
I did in the beginning because, again, I didn't really feel like I had someone I could um, role model after. And so I was just doing stuff. I felt like I was just trying to fit in, or I was trying to find my way. But our church is very unique. Our church has always been very unique, which is not surprising because my husband and I are very unique. So me personally, I don't feel pressure. And I don't know if it's because we've done things differently within our church. We've always tried to create a family atmosphere. We've always had a smallish ministry, right? So we've always been touchable. We've always, been hands on. We would set up furniture. Like, we always did the things in our church. Um, so I felt like I was always a part of the people, right? I never felt like I was here and they were there, or like anything like that. I always kind of felt a part of everyone. So and the people that we've all had in our ministry, I don't think they came with the mindset to put me as some kind of pedestal princess. And so I've never been one of those kind of like, pour me a glass of tea or like whatever. Like, I don't even know. I don't feel like I have to pretend. I've always felt comfortable to be vulnerable um in our church and with our church. I've shared things over the years with women and other people, things about my life, because I felt like that would help them, right? So I've never tried to um, be someone that I'm not. And I think all of those things would create pressure, right? I feel like all of those things would make me feel like, I have to walk the straight and narrow. They can't know that I'm crumbling. They can't know that I'm having a hard time. And if they do know, it's going to reflect badly on my ministry or my husband. I feel like that would make me, that is what builds the pressure. When you start trying to hide and have boundaries, and not that boundaries aren't bad, so I take that back. But when you start trying to hide and pretend and put on a facade and all of that, I don't feel, I can't remember a time where I've ever been in the position to not be who I am and to not feel comfortable. I would cry every Sunday in church, literally every Sunday. And I never felt like people were like, "What's wrong with her? Why she?" Because I just feel like it's just the move this of the spirit, right? It's just how it moves within me. And if I always felt like if I'm comfortable enough to do that, then the other women in there who might feel like, I don't want to do that, I don't want to cry in front of other people, then they'll feel comfortable to do it because they see me doing it. And it's just a part of worship. It's just a part of being in this space and kind of knowing, thinking back and knowing where God has brought you from, and remembering your testimony and where you could be and all of that. I'm about to cry right now thinking about it. So, I thank you for your question, but yeah, I don't feel that type of first lady pressure. Thank God, right? Thank God I haven't, and I think that my church and the women in my church and even the men in my church are better for it, because if I'm not pressured, then my husband is not pressured, right? Like, he's comfortable within himself. He doesn't feel like he has to protect me all the time. Like, all of that, I feel like it's just better
Let me just
because
say, the
I
rest of
can
us
be
will be
open.
protecting her. We might, we will be like, oh, please don't try. Please, please, please don't
Now,
try. It's
listen,
gonna be a whole problem in here.
you know, Florence, I got a little bit of a mouth too. So
Yeah,
before
she
y'all can even
y'all
try, it'll
she
probably be
better
out my
take you
mouth.
took you out. She'll take
I'm
you
just
out.
saying. I'm just saying.
So another question is, I tell you, they got questions for you. Folk be
Oh my
asking questions.
goodness.
So, and this one you gonna get, Josh. A lot of who you are and what you do requires you to serve others.
Hmm.
Serve in uppercase. How do you balance time for yourself and your family? And I feel like you answered this, but I don't want to just go
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of what I do requires me to serve others, but I have no problem saying no thank you. No thank you. I don't, I know I'm sorry. I can easily prioritize my husband, children, and myself and sacrifice other things, right? So there's a time to serve the church. There's a time to serve at work. And then there's a time where it's time for everybody to come home and just relax. It's a time for me to just unplug and relax. So, yeah, I think I'm able to do that because I can prioritize. I think for me to do that is the ability to prioritize and to know, that I can't um, give out everything I have to those outside of my home, outside of those that I know I'm responsible for. So I'll come and make myself available to the women at the church and the kids and whomever else needs. But when that time is done, then it's time for me to say no, thank you. I have other responsibilities. I have other obligations that I have to attend to.
Like Alexander, who's trying to
Right. I was
be
gonna
in the
say,
show,
and
and
right
I'm
now is
gonna.
not your time, sir.
I hear him. This is this is kind of similar, and it's in the similar vein. And I'm still having plosives. How do you keep the needs and demands of your congregation from overwhelming your life? And I feel like that's the same question, and you've answered it, but I didn't want to bypass it.
Of
Um,
course. Yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, I think really, I feel like the congregation that we have understands our lives. They understand that we have stuff going on. They understand that, um, my husband and I's relationship is number one, and we don't sacrifice that. So if it's date night, the church usually doesn't call, right? They don't bother us. Our kids don't bother us when it's date night. They know that that is a priority for us. When we are with our kids, when our youngest had um, performances and things like that, like that is my priority. That's where I'm going to be, and I would say, no, I have to go here, or he has a game, or she has a game, or, we're driving this one to um, an audition, or this one to a college tour. And everybody is, like I said, I feel like our congregation really understands that we are real people, even as pastor and first lady, but we are real people. And I credit that to my husband's leading, that he's always been really, 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 really open about who he is, and all of that. And so it helps, I think, that they understand that the church is not all that who we are. The church is not everything that we do. It's just a part of who we are. And we've been really, really blessed to be able to not really have the pressures, I guess, of some other congregations or some other churches, that are the people that we've been able to shepherd, have come along and always been like family with us. So And it's not even really, sometimes the sometimes I take care of the needs of the church, and I choose their needs over others, because somebody might need that. Somebody might need me to be there. I've been with women in our church when they've given birth, and I've been at their baby showers, and I've been at their homes when they've had family members pass, and the things that people need. I'm ready to serve. But I also know that I do have boundaries, and when I'm tapped out, I can I can tap out, say no, thank you. I have to stay home.
Yes, she can. She can tap out and do it in such a like smooth way. It's like, okay, all right, I got you. But you have answered a boatload of questions tonight. And gang, this is last call. Last call.
And so I just
Last
want to say that
call.
most of the questions, though, have been um, anchored around me as first lady and me and the church. But that is just one aspect of who I am, right? Like I I do so much more, especially now that I work outside my home. Um, that I don't want you guys to just see me as first lady and only are curious about my first lady role, because again, I do a lot. And I, if this is last call, I did want to add this one thing that I did touch on it a little bit.
Well,
When
hold
we
on one second.
were
It's their
oh
last call. So they
oh
can get their last questions in.
oh
You don't get
okay,
another chance. So last call. Last call for your questions. Put them in. Q colon, please.
yeah,
And if you're new here and you have not visited the channel and listened to what we cover, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button. Spread this, especially the like button. Uh, one of your oldest is in the chat. My
hey
baby,
oldest.
my baby is in the chat. Um,
Thank you for plugging in.
um, but subscribe to the channel, hit the like button to spread this because there are so many people, and not just women, but women and men who have multiple roles and balance them and prioritize the very things that our guests this evening have been talking about. This will help them. It will help them. It's not mechanical.
Hmm.
And that's the difference, and that's what she brings. And you guys in the building with us tonight, one of you said your wife reminds you what your priorities are.
Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a real partner. So last
Yep.
call, get your questions in. I'm going to ask one or two other questions, and it actually really goes to what you just said. You're not
Yeah.
solely one role. We went down. You run like the Museum of the Bible. Like I don't even understand all the stuff you do down there. Um, like it's amazing to me. Uh, you've got three adult children, young adult children that you're sharpening, two of them in college at the same time. You're the wife of an entrepreneur who's working alongside him in business as well. You're
Yeah.
also, as your husband say, you his favorite preacher
Mm.
as
I think he
well.
has to say
He
that.
doesn't have to say that. And and so there are a lot of roles that you're filling,
Yeah.
and you're balancing. And so I will say this for those of you who are content creators, it's no different. She's a content creator just in a different capacity than what we
Hmm.
may think of it as. So
Hmm.
open your mind, open your mind to the possibilities of what she's sharing with you tonight. And so I want to ask you. You said some of your strategies around prioritization, but let's just dig a little bit about, like, let's just say, at the Museum of the Bible, when you think about structuring your day and working with your team and all of the people that you have to be considering, people coming into the museum and all of that, all those weird things that you do down there. How do you kind of manage that and structure it and work with it a little
Yeah.
bit?
So, the role that I have now is not the role that I started off with. I've been at the museum for 6 years. I started there a week after the grand opening. And the role that I have now is the title is Manager of Vendor Relations. I know you don't know what that is because I made it up. Actually, I made up my own title. But basically, what I do is we contract out three of our major services at the museum, which is our facilities, our security, and our food and beverage um, services. And I manage those contracts in the museum. I'm actually on site managing those three managers on site in the museum. So, yes, at any given time, I could be up in the restaurant, making sure that everything is flowing. Always checking in with our security on site, and then the facilities, which is everything building related, right? The HVAC systems, the lighting, and all of the things that are actually helping the building to operate, furniture, and everything. So there's lots of different ways that I could be pulled in any given day. So for me, um, I rely on calendaring, if that's a word, to help me stay on task and structured at work. I put it on a calendar. If there's a meeting, if there's even a touch base that we need to have, I'm plugging it into my calendar so that I can stay on task. I can stay on track, that I'm not losing people in the process. I'm not trying to figure out, well, what am I supposed to be doing. I'm referring to my calendar that's in my phone that I have with me all the time. Meetings and all of that stuff. I'm using the tools in business that you can use to help you stay organized. Whatever your specific thing is, I use a lot of the Microsoft Office tools to help me stay organized, just in my everyday work life. And yeah, there's lots of different things that are always happening there. We have to, I'm all day long, I'm listening to radio calls, making sure that, there's like no medical emergencies that are happening in the building. There's no children that are being lost, or, within the building, if there's something that's going on, I'm on site. I'm there, helping to resolve whatever the issue is. I'm actually going into the office tomorrow because we're supposed to have a high visitation day. And I just want to make sure that everyone is where they're supposed to be, that everything flows, that, there's not going to be any hiccups. So, I'm going to spend part of my Saturday at work, but that's just the nature of the business, and just kind of what I can prioritize in my life, right? We've already said we have young adult children. They're not home all the time, they don't need me as much, so I can do more of other things now. So part of what I'm going to, like I said, prioritize is being at work on tomorrow. But yeah, I do a lot of taking notes, taking notes in my phone, actually taking notes by hand at work. I have a whiteboard that I jotting stuff down just so I can stay organized. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of things people come and tell me, and I have to make sure I don't lose track, right? Of what others' needs are. So I'm going to take a note. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to, again, stick it in that calendar so I can make sure I can go back to it. Um, so yeah, it's it's a big task. I feel up for the task. I'm blessed, like I said, to have been able to go there and be there as long as I have. I've This role that I'm in, I said that it was created, and I helped create it, right? I said this is what the title should be. This is the responsibilities of the role, and here I am. I'm working it, and I'm excited, and I'm happy to be able to make a difference in that place.
Absolutely. One of the things that I love to share with folks and you just solidified. And James Hicks, if you still out there, she's your friend. Calendar, calendar, calendar. But
Oh,
making that
yes.
thing work for you is
Mm-hmm.
key. It's and really it's your partner to get through your day. And so we've got one or two other questions. I think you've answered this one, and that is, would you mind sharing more about your role at the Museum of the Bible? Which I think you just did that. But this one is a special question because it's from a special person.
Okay, special person.
Talk about being okay. It's back, not showing the text again. Talk about being a sports mom. This is from one of.
Yes.
Talk about being a sports mom.
Oh my gosh, I love being a sports mom because I love sports. That's one of the things that I think might be unique about me. But like, I love it all. I love um, game days and even practices and just kind of the rudiments of like doing it over and over and over again till you get it right, and then being able to show out during the game and like leaving it all out there. And even we our youngest is a dancer, and I feel like dance is pretty much a sport, a different type of sport. And so just kind of making your body be uh just making your body do to the greatest capacity that you can think of. How much weight can you actually lift? How fast can you actually go? How high can you jump? Right? How many spins can you do? Like, I love all of that stuff. It brought me joy because like we're kind of in a different season now. Not so many sports happening with our kids anymore, so I'm gonna miss it. I will admit, but I loved it, and just achieving, and it wasn't we weren't always on winning teams, so you have to learn how to lose gracefully, right? You have to learn how to be better the next time. You have to learn how to take that loss and go back and regroup and figure it out, and learn from your mistakes. Say, yeah, I was not where I needed to be here. I overlooked that play, or whatever it was, and just be better the next time. Know that you can. This one loss does not make you out forever, but it was just one loss. We have many more games. We have many more times to get it right. And I've been blessed because my kids have done lots of sports, not just one or two, but like lots of sports, right? So our oldest was a competitive gymnast for many years, and competed, I think started at like age 5 or 6, and I think competed until he was 11 or 12, and was the vault Maryland vault champion one year. I don't know which year, but so did that, and then we did soccer, and then we did football, and then we did lacrosse and volleyball, and like I was like, it's weird, but I was like, yes, let's try this one, let's do this one. And Faith did cheerleading one year, which is a sport. It's a sport. It's a sport. Don't fight me. It's a sport. um, but I loved all of that.
She said, "Don't fight me."
Don't fight me. It's a sport. So yeah, it was, being out at those games and in the crowd, and just kind of the energy of it all. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I highly suggest, if you are a parent of a child that is involved in sports, get in there with them. Go to those practices and see how they're working out. Be at those games and be the loudest cheerleader out there. If you ask my kids, they could hear my voice at every game, at every activity. They could hear my voice. Why? Because I want to be their biggest cheerleader. And I'm not only cheering for my kid, I cheer for all the kids. So yeah, if you are a parent of a child that is in sports, go all in. Show them what it is to be all in for the team.
Uh oh. Uh
What?
oh. Christian.
What? I forgot about kickball. I can see the first part. What does the first part say? You mute it. You mute it.
Hashtag mutilation.
Yeah.
He said we going back out for kickball every game.
Ah, I forgot about kickball. That was a whole nother thing. Like, cause that's intramural, and so that's like everybody, adults and everybody. And woo, that was fun. That was fun. That was fun.
So
I didn't play. I just watched. But yeah, I forgot. That was an adventure. And they were on a championship team, kickball team as well. Traveled, I think, to North Carolina to play in the game and won the championship. Yeah, that was fun.
yeah. All right. So we don't have any other questions. My last question to you is pretty simple.
Hmm.
I love for the guest, Frank, you late. Monica already told me I muted myself. Stop. Uh, and it's a thing. It's a whole thing on this channel for Florence to mute herself. But I love for my guests to end. Just share whatever you would like in terms of the topic that we've been exploring this evening with
Hmm.
the audience and with the
Hmm.
replay crew. And it has been my absolute pleasure to have you. And I hope you'll come back. Maybe I can
I
talk you
definitely
into
will.
coming back. And I'll
Definitely.
hopefully won't be muting myself in the middle of the show. Just saying. And it is really my joy and
Yeah.
to your
Great.
friends, your
What?
friends, talking about
I
we
can't
need
see.
t-shirts. We need t-shirts. I'm just gonna say, who calls you mama? We need t-shirts.
Okay, let's get t-shirts. Let's do
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. I gotta put
Spoiled.
my phone in low power mode.
Spoiled.
We're
So
about
I'm
to
gonna let
have a
you,
battery.
yep, I'm gonna let you wrap up and then we're gonna get out of
Okay.
here. Anything you'd like to
Thank you
share?
guys for just being attentive and like giving me a platform to just talk. I did want to just quickly say that one of the roles, and I just hit on it a little bit. One of the roles that I did have to take on was caregiver. And I wanted to say that that role was probably the most difficult one that I have had to do to date. And I wanted to encourage anyone out there that is taking on that role as a caregiver to someone that is that you love that is ill. And I want to encourage you to get help, right? To take breaks and to not take on too much pressure. Okay. The person that you're caring for knows that you love them and they know that you are doing the best that you can. So don't feel pressure to be the end all be all. Get help. Look for resources. Look for people that can come in and help you. You are doing a great work. If nobody told you, I'm telling you right now, you're doing a great work. But you need help. You can't do it by yourself. And don't try to do it by yourself. Love them while you can, love them as hard as you can, and then let someone love on you. Let someone love on you. Remember that you still have a life to live. Remember that all the things that you do are not who you are. You are not the responsibilities that you have. You are not the job that you have. You are not only an employee. You are not only a husband. You are not only a wife, but you are a person. You are a person that God made. You're a person that God created. You're a person that God breathed into and that He has a purpose for your life. Do that. Do that thing that brings you joy. Do that thing that makes your eyes light up. Do that thing that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up because you know that you are connecting with who you are. Have confidence in who He made you to be. Don't short sight yourself and feel like, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. I'm not equipped for this. If he put it before you, he gave you the tools to do it. If he gave you the idea to know how, do it. Trust your instinct. Trust the Holy Spirit. Trust the discernment that's inside of you, that voice that speaks to you, that guides you. Trust what it's saying to you. It won't let you down. Like I said before, I don't feel like I'm a woman of many talents. I feel like I'm a woman that is covered by grace. I feel like I'm a woman that has been saved by grace. And because I have, that I am required to follow his leading. I'm required to follow where he's leading me. So I thank you for this time again to just be open and honest and to just share a little bit about who I am. Thank you for not judging me.
All right. Well, thank you again, Monica. And I will be having you come back because people need to hear this more. People
Awesome.
need to hear it more. So, gang, we have covered a lot tonight. Thank you all for being here. There's going to be a video that chops up. Watch it. Come back again and visit. Love having you here. Good night, everybody.